Hi and welcome to Ryvis Rambles, where I talk about whatever the fuck I want. And in today's video it's time for another media recap. Movies. I watched the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Good Grief, 3000 Miles from Chang'an, Wicked, Pride, Prejudice and Zombies, Gifted, Priscilla, Marry My Dead Body, and Naja. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. While working underground to fix a water main, Brooklyn plumbers and brothers Mario and Luigi, who we all know and love, are transported through a mysterious pipe to a magical new world. The siblings are separated and an epic adventure begins. It's honestly a funny and cute movie with lots of Easter eggs for 90s kids and retro nerds. So if you're interested in that, I can recommend it. 3 stars. Good Grief. An artist grieving the loss of his famous rich husband takes his 2 best friends on a trip to Paris where they unpack messy secrets and hard truth. Good Grief is a beautiful and heartfelt movie. I especially love the soundtrack of this movie. As the title suggests, it deals with grief in I think, good way. But honestly, why do all the gay movies make me feel so emotional? The last one I watched was All of Us Strangers and it really broke my heart. 3 stars. 3000 Miles from Chang'an. A few years after the outbreak of the Anshi Rebellion, the Two Bull Army attacked the southwest. Gao Shi, who was trapped in the isolated city. The city? Is there just one? Okay. In the isolated city, recalls his life with Li Bai to the eunuch of the supervising army. It's a very long movie and it's also very educational because it's based on true events, but I don't know how close they are to reality. But I also have to admit that I'm an uncultured swine. The poems didn't make me feel anything. Poems never make me feel anything because they always feel just so pretentious to me. Overall, I still enjoyed the movie. The animation is impressive, very pleasing to the eye. 3 stars. Wicked. Misunderstood because of her green skin, a young woman named Elphaba forges an unlikely but profound friendship with Glinda, a student with an unflinching desire for popularity. Following an encounter with the Wizard of Oz, their relationship soon reaches a crossroad as their lives begin to take very different paths. Honestly, it's not fair for me to rate it because I was kind of forced to watch it. I didn't want to watch it in the first place because I don't know the original and I'm also not interested, so it was a bit hard for me to enjoy it because I already went into the movie with a bad feeling. And since I don't know the original, I also don't know the original songs, but they felt very short in the movie. I won't deny that the movie had some funny moments. And even though it wouldn't be fair for me to rate it, I'm insufferable and need to be consistent, so 3 stars. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. A quaint English countryside is plagued by zombies. It is up to Elizabeth Bennet, who excels in martial arts, and Mr. Darcy, a prolific zombie killer, to eliminate the walking dead. I love this movie. It was so much funnier than expected. I was ready to watch some trash, but it's good actually. It has a remarkable cast. The Bennet girls are badass. They went all out on the zombie makeup, and it's so funny. I honestly enjoyed it more than the original or the version with Keira Knightley. 4 stars. Gifted. A child prodigy gets caught in a custody battle between the kind-hearted uncle who raised her and the grandmother who wants to cultivate her genius. It was alright. It was less dramatic than expected, to be honest. 3 stars. Priscilla. When 14-year-old Priscilla meets rock and roll star Elvis Presley, their immediate connection sparks a passionate but complicated romance. Once again, I didn't know anything about the true events. I'm not interested in Elvis Presley. I didn't know about Priscilla up to this movie, but something drew me in. When I saw the teaser, I was like, I want to watch this movie. And I wasn't disappointed. I really liked the mood and the acting in the movie, and I unexpectedly enjoyed it very much despite the problematic topic. 4 stars. Marry My Dead Body. After finding a red envelope, a police officer's life takes a spooky turn. He's no wed to a ghost husband, and they must solve a crime together. The movie is weirdly funny, but it's so weird that it's good again, with a few sincere moments. And even though the protagonist has a few problematic views, the characters are charming. The whole story is charming. 3 stars. Naja. Born with unique powers, a boy is recruited to fight demons and save the community that fears him. I already knew the figure from Legend of Hay, which I made a video about and will be published in August. I obviously watched the first part because a sequel has been released, which I will be watching in April. I just love certain plot twists or plot beats of Chinese stories, which I can't reveal here because it would be a spoiler for the movie. And honestly, the humor is on point and the animation, once again, is very nice. I don't know if all of it was made by hand, but still, I know how much of a pain it is to animate water and hair and certain movements. And to have a bare feet protagonist, I would die. Honestly, all the respect. 4 stars. Or actually 5 stars. Shows. I finished The Spy Realm, and I watched Murder Mindfully, The Glory, Schitt's Creek, The 8 Show, Exo Kitty Season 2, Reservation Dogs Season 3, What We Do in the Shadows Season 6, Cobra Kai Season 6, Apple Cider Vinegar, Arcane, Interview with the Vampire Season 1 and 2, Love is Blind Season 8, Love is a Poison, Running Point, Toxic Town, Adolescence, and A Love Game in Eastern Fantasy. The Spy Realm. Ling Zhe finds himself inexplicably thrust inside a mind-bending reality dictated by an enigmatic virtual reality game where he must pass 12 draws to escape the catch. Each draw initiates new mysteries to solve and conditions to abide by. Just going over that real quick because I think I've talked about it in my last recap video. This drama honestly took me forever to finish. I might repeat myself a bit because I honestly don't remember what I mentioned last time, but each draw spans over multiple episodes. It's a smart way to include different genres. I didn't care for the characters or the plot at all. The plot twist was also very underwhelming, but I also have a feeling that it was completely butchered due to censorship. My favorite door ghost was the fourth door, I think. There's one ghost who only has one leg. If you're going to watch it, you will know it when you see it. I won't read the book because I just realized for myself that I'm not interested in contemporary Chinese dramas, and this one just proved it to me again. 2 stars. Murder Mindfully. When mafia lawyer Björn attends a mindfulness class to find a better work-life balance, he discovers surprising new coping strategies and accidentally becomes a murderer. This series is a German production with a very dark and dry humor. I enjoyed it very much, and I just love how mindful of the moment he is, that he just casually kills someone. That's peak dark comedy. Each episode represents one emotion or theme, because I think one of the episodes isn't an emotion per se. I also feel like I was able to kind of enjoy it on a different level because we have this wellness program at work where we also have meditation, which I participate in because I really like the mindfulness part. And since we were also taught the basics of meditation before the program started, I know what they're talking about, because what the mindfulness teacher is, well, essentially teaching Björn, that's exactly what we learned in our meditation classes. 4 stars. The Glory. Years after surviving horrific abuse in high school, a woman puts an elaborate revenge scheme in motion to make the perpetrators pay for their crimes. Honestly, The Glory is finally a decent K-drama in my eyes, apart from Squid Game, but that's so mainstream it doesn't count. What I do like about K-dramas in general is that they most of the time represent strong and badass women, at least in a handful of dramas that I've seen. What I also really liked in this drama, or in dramas in general, is when the female lead's goal is something else or something beside romance or finding a partner. Another good example for this is Ashes of Love. Well, the first half at least. My favorite character in The Glory is the protagonist's partner in crime, the auntie, not the handsome doctor. The casting for the characters of the past and present was also very good. What I didn't like about this drama is that there's lots of screaming. There isn't one episode where no one is screaming. The first episode was really hard to watch emotionally, and I honestly didn't know if I could continue, but the following episodes aren't that bad. I was invested in every minute of this drama, and I have to say, it wasn't very predictable to me. So that was a nice change. The only thing that was predictable was the outcome. And while I do really like the plot of the drama, I personally don't think you should let one person rule your life. I mean, I get it. I don't want to downplay the bullying, and I get why she wants revenge, but she's getting entirely consumed, completely obsessed with one person, and essentially throws away her own life. And for what? I mean, I know that's the point of this drama, I guess, and it's good and all. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's very thrilling. 4 stars. Schitt's Creek. Suddenly broke, the formerly filthy rich Rose family is reduced to living in a ramshackle motel in a town they once bought as a joke. Schitt's Creek. Schitt's Creek is honestly a good casual watch if you're looking for some light entertainment. It's a caricature or parody of Delulu rich people who are completely out of touch with reality. But they do have some very empathetic moments in the right situations. It's really fun to watch, and the further I progressed in the show, the more I grew attached to the characters. It also contains some good love drama without being overly dramatic or a tearjerker. 4 stars. The 8 Show. 8 individuals trapped in a mysterious 8 great story building participate in a tempting but dangerous show where they earn money as time passes. Just from the cover alone, I thought it would be a Squid Game parody, but it's something entirely different. Each episode starts with a different character, but it doesn't focus on a character, which was really sad, to be honest. It basically just shows how they ended up in the show. It deals with interesting topics and might even be considered social commentary because it's basically a boiled down version of the imbalance of power and opportunities in our society. It had some smart ideas, but unfortunately neither the plot nor the characters were really intriguing to me, and it was overall not fun to watch because it contained some very uncomfortable violence. So while I don't really enjoy it, I think it would be good stuff to show in schools because it feels more like it's trying to teach you something. The show also has a moment where it's kind of aware of itself and saying, yeah, it's boring, but that's the point, and that didn't really sell it to me. 2 stars. EXO Kitty Season 2. A new love story unfolds when teen matchmaker Kitty reunites with her long-distance boyfriends at the same boarding school attended by her late mother. It's very cheesy. It's been cheesy from season 1. It is easy to watch though because it's not very deep. I don't remember season 1 being as bad, but season 2 wasn't really funny and borderline cringe. I didn't hate it though. Season 2 also has a bit of repeating drama from season 1, so that's getting kind of boring, but it's a good show to just turn your brain off. 3 stars. Reservation Dogs Season 3. It's a comedy series about Native American teenagers growing up on a reservation in eastern Oklahoma. I finally finished it. I realized even though this show is a comedy, it sometimes takes itself too seriously, so it all felt very disconnected because there is no real plot. I did appreciate the heartfelt moments though. 3 stars. All We Do in the Shadows Season 6. A documentary style look into the daily, or rather nightly, lives of 4 vampires who lived together for hundreds of years in Staten Island. What We Do in the Shadows is honestly one of my favorite shows, so I was really sad that it ended, and I was honestly as surprised as Guillermo because I didn't know it was going to end so soon. 4 stars. Cobra Kai Season 6. Decades after the 1984 All-Valley Karate Tournament, a middle-aged Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence find themselves martial arts rivals again. Season 6 is also the final season of Cobra Kai, and even though I did enjoy the show in general, I think it's good that it ended because it started to become very repetitive. I liked the conclusion, and even though I knew how it was going to end, I still had goosebumps all over my body. The last season really tied it back that this show was about Johnny and not Daniel. 3 stars. Apple cider vinegar. 2 young women advocate for wellness remedies to cure deadly illnesses, unraveling their lives as they unknowingly and knowingly mislead the world. This show made sure that the audience is aware that it's based on a true story, albeit fictionalized. While it's a hard topic, production quality is good, the actors did an amazing job. 4 stars. Arcane Season 1 and 2. Amid the stark discord of Twin Cities Piltover and Zone, 2 sisters fight on rival sides of a war between magic technologies and clashing convictions. Everyone told me I had to watch it. Most people thought I wasn't watching it because I hadn't played the game, but that wasn't it. I mean, I also watched Last of Us and Fallout without having played the games. So it wasn't my ignorance of the game, but the sheer lack of interest. I mean, I know it has great art and animation, but I can appreciate it without having to watch the whole thing. I did though, and I have to point out there's an insane focus on body fluids. To be fair, I didn't hate it, so it didn't feel like wasted time. There's good tension, the designs are cool and creative, there's lots of cool action. I really enjoyed the action scenes at the beginning of episodes. The show sometimes had music video vibes. I don't know what the purpose of this was, except that it was eye candy or was a creative way to introduce lore or act as exposition. I also liked the second season better than the first. I honestly didn't really understand Vi's motivation. To me, it just felt like she never cared about her sister at all. 4 stars. Interview with the Vampire Season 1 and 2. Based on Anne Rice's iconic novel, it follows Louise de Pointe-du-Lac's epic story of love, blood, and the perils of immortality as told by the journalist Daniel Malloy. Before I get into my opinion, I just wanted to read the Google summary. A show that is dramatical in nature. I mean, it's true. When I watched the first episode, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it because the first episode is so cheesy and low-key boring, but episode 2 is so much better. It really gets good from here on out, and it just gets more fun the more the plot progresses. My favorite part of the show is the life of domestic vampires. Season 2 unfortunately also had a weak start, and I don't like the intro because it's so loud. I think it's also the first show where I have to split the rating because I enjoyed the first season more than the second season. So season 1 gets 4 stars and season 2 gets 3 stars. Love is Blind season 8. Singers try to find a match and fall in love without ever seeing each other face to face, as emotional connection attempts to conquer physical attraction. Still one of my guilty pleasures. This season felt a bit more emotionally mature. No. The participants in this season felt a bit more emotionally mature than the participants of the previous seasons, with a few exceptions. 3 stars. Love is a Poison. An elite but socially awkward lawyer takes in a genius con artist. Together, they secretly solve complex legal cases using unethically obtained evidence. This show is funny, but the acting is so bad. Even though I ended up binging it, I cannot recommend it. Maybe it's a fun watch with friends. At least it's pleasing to the eye though. 3 stars. Running Point. A reformed party girl must prove herself as a businesswoman when she's unexpectedly put in charge of her family's pro basketball team. The trailer looked very promising, but some of the jokes are so old and very stereotypical. Like honestly, some of them aged like milk, and I was honestly wondering why they were placed in a modern comedy. 2 stars. Toxic Town. Based on a true story, a group of mothers fight for justice in the wake of one of the worst toxic waste scandals in UK history. While I'm certain it's an important topic, especially for UK history, the storytelling wasn't compelling. I mean, I like that it wasn't over-dramatized, but it still was too boring. It does contain a lot of renowned actors though, and what I also liked is that it's basically a story of hope. Even though I knew it was gonna have a happy ending, because why else would you make it into a show, it still made me so happy when they won. Spoilers, I guess. 2 stars. Adolescence. A family's world turns upside down when a 13-year-old teenager is arrested for murdering a schoolmate. So this show was already much more intriguing than Toxic Town. Both shows have only 4 episodes, by the way. The show is very bingeable, and the story slowly unfolds over the episodes. What was truly impressive is that each episode is a one-shot. At least there are no obvious cuts, and knowing how much work needs to put into this to work, it just blew my mind. It's the first show that I personally saw that had a one-shot for every episode. I think it's amazing. 4 stars. Love game in Eastern fantasy. Pulled into the pages of a fantasy novel, a woman is shocked to find herself stuck in the role of a villain. Now she must battle to rewrite her destiny. I love this drama on 2 levels. I have to separate it a bit because one of them will contain spoilers. First of all, spoiler-free part, the drama is incredibly funny. It's so pretty to look at, and I'm not just talking about the cast. I love the makeup, the costume, the CGI, everything is on point. What I also like is that even though it's a Chinese drama with lots of episodes, it doesn't feel long at all because most of the drama is quickly resolved, which can be a nice change. Just to name one example, the world is supposed to end in 3 months, and the characters, they're just chilling. 3 months, doesn't matter. Not gonna tell you if they managed to save the world, but I just thought it was so funny. Also, not necessarily my favorite character, but truly MVP of the drama is the Marquis. He is stupid, he is an idiot, but the fun kind, not the annoying kind. And despite being so stupid, he's also very kind and kind of mature. So I really like that about him. Another thing I wanted to point out is that it has game in the name, and aesthetically, it sometimes also looks like a fantasy MMORPG, even though it's supposed to be a novel. Not saying that it's a bad thing, just something I noticed. Now we get to my actual favorite character. This person wouldn't usually be my favorite character. I love Wusheng, or Ziqi, because he reminds me so much of my own character in my fanfic of The Untamed. I will not explain why, but also threading into spoiler territory now, so if you don't want to hear it, just skip to this part. When I write stories, I search for face claims because I cannot visualize faces, and it helps to have a reference, to be honest. So that's how I found Ding Yuxi for my OC Lan Xiaoli. And since I wanted to see him in action, I watched his latest drama, I think, and I cannot he's exactly the same as my own character. It's insane. The resemblance was uncanny. I was not prepared. I've never been this happy in my life. And not only does he look, I mean, yeah, I used him as a face claim, so of course he looks like my character, but he also acts like him, like they have the same temper. My OC is also a tsundere, and the peak of my joy was when he turns into his demon form and has almost white hair, or to be precise, at the very end, completely white hair. I lost it. I was sitting in my room screaming and squealing because I was like, it's my baby! Honestly, you can show me any scene of the drama and I can show you a matching scene in my fanfic. I mean, okay, almost any scene. There are some differences. My OC, for example, isn't a ciscon. When I'm writing this drama, I might be a bit biased because I was so focused on the character that I didn't pay too much attention to the plot. As I said before, the dramas are very low stake or very quickly resolved, so it had a nice pace. Could feel a bit fast paced maybe, but I didn't mind, and I'm just so happy that Dinishi has so much screen time. I barely read the subtitles. I was just looking at his face. I honestly still can't believe how similar they are and how happy I am. I should give it 5 stars because I love Tsuchi because he reminds me of Lancholi, but I'm fair, so 4 stars. Books. I read Aha Volume 7, Sarasanmai Volume 1, The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation Volumes 1 to 3 and the first half of the 4th volume, and Ballad of Straw and Wine Volume 3. Aha Volume 7. As the combined forces of the cultivation world race to stop Shushuanin, Ran must finally confront the past he's been running from since his rebirth. Chuanin can be a bitch, but he's also such a tragic... I can't talk. Okay, that's a test video, but... First of all, I really enjoyed the backstory of Lu Fenghua in this volume. And second of all, the plot is getting very complex. But despite being so complex, because it introduced time-space travel, I'm starting to enjoy it again. I was invested in the beginning, then I slowly lost interest, but now I'm finally invested again. I think I mentioned it in previous videos, but I'm still very sus of Shimei because he is acting very sus. And Chuaning is such a tragic figure. He can be a bitch, but I guess it's all rooted in his past because he's treated so unfairly by everyone, except by the reborn Moran, I guess. 4 stars. Sarasanmai Volume 1. After accidentally breaking a statue of a kappa, 3 junior high students are transformed into a kappa themselves as punishment by the prince of the kappa kingdom, who has a mission for them. If they want their bodies back, they have to work for him and hunt down zombie kappas. The light novel is basically just a written form of the anime, to be honest. I also have to say it's not written very well, but it didn't bother me personally because it also makes it very easy to read. What I really like about this story is there are lots of puns and intentional repetitions. I love the plot twists that are slowly revealed, and it's very ass fixated without being porn. Credit where credit's due. 4 stars. The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Volumes 1 to 3 and the first half of Volume 4. It's a historical fantasy tale of 2 powerful men who find each other through life and death. I'm currently rereading it for an upcoming video, which is going to be my first video essay with a deep dive and all, where I'm going to compare the novel with the drama. So look forward to that. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I love this shit. 5 stars. Volume 3. After a close call with a deadly epidemic and an attempt on the Emperor's life, the Imperial Court of Chudu is in turmoil. The Emperor is determined to hold someone among the noble clans accountable. Why is it so hard for me to read? The Emperor is determined to hold someone among the noble clans accountable. Desire, Shen Zichuan, and Xiao Jie are prepared to use to their political advantage. Okay, I have to admit it's getting a bit hard to read because of all the politics and the positions that are involved, like Ministry of this, Minister of that, Marquis here, Lord there. And then we also have generals and officers. I don't even know what all that means. It feels like I have to study first before I'm able to read it. But then again, I'm not forced to read it, so I'm not holding that against the novel. I mean, I want to read it, so I'm actually willing to learn this stuff, and I might in the future if I have time. And once I did, I think I'll come back to the story and can read it with an open mind. The thing though is, due to all of these positions, we have lots of characters. There are very many names that I cannot remember and cannot ascribe to a certain character because they all look the same in my mind. And because it's getting quite complex and a bit hard for me to read, 3 stars. Anime. I watched Beastar Season 1 and 2 and the final season, Part 1, Link Click Season 3, Sakamoto Days Season 1, and Babam Babam Bam Vampire. Beastars. In a world where beasts of all kinds coexist, a gentle wolf awakens to his own predatory urges as his school deals with a murder within its midst. First of all, I'm mad. I only want to watch and read media that's finished, because otherwise I just start so many things at the same time again that I just completely lose track of the plots. So I feel like I was baited because the 3rd season was advertised as the final season, but apparently it's just final season part 1 of who knows how many. But whatever. The art is on point, I have to say. It's very creative. I'm not a big fan of the animation style though, because they all move a bit too much, which just doesn't feel natural. Sometimes it felt like I was watching a playthrough of a game. It has interesting conflicts and characters, but I wasn't into the whole romance subplot. Louis' tragic backstory also didn't do it for me, to be honest, because it didn't fit the mood of the story, and it started to feel a bit over the top in general, starting from season 1 episode 9, where just everything escalated so quickly that it felt a bit off. It also got very dark very quickly, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just felt a bit random here. And the only thing I like about this anime is the twist at the end of season 3, but that's literally it. 2 stars. Link Click Season 3. Lu Guang ventures back in time to save the deceased Cheng Shaoxia, but this mission takes a detour when a photo containing clues of Cheng Shaoxia's parents appear in the time photo studio. To uncover the truth, the duo travels to Brighton. I love this anime from the 1st season. I love the art and I love the animation. I love the plot and I love how gay it is. I was a bit sad that the 3rd season only had 6 episodes, but I also have to admit that with season 3, the whole plot starts to be a bit more complicated because different timelines are introduced and everything. So I certainly want to watch it all over again once it's finished. 5 stars. Sakamoto Days. Once the greatest hitman of all, Taro Sakamoto retired in the name of love, but when his past catches up, he must fight to protect his beloved family. Sakamoto Days is so fun. It's an incredibly good comedy. The only thing I have to criticize is that I don't like the coloring. It feels a bit muddy and it has a weird overlay that doesn't move with the characters, so that made it look a bit weird, but it's something I can overlook. The characters are fun, the plot is good, so 3 stars. Babam Babam Bam Vampire. Nanmaru is a vampire hiding out in a Japanese bathhouse and has his eyes and fangs on its young, attractive caretaker Rihito. But he must protect Rihito from other lovers who target him. I cannot recommend this. This is bad. It can be funny, I'll give it that, but the age gap is a bit crass. I know age gaps are inevitable in vampire stories, but this has strong pedo vibes because the vampire spray isn't of age yet. I'm still missing the last episode of this season because it hasn't aired yet, but I think I can still form an opinion. It felt very wrong to watch it. 2 stars. And manga. I've read Sarasan-mai Ryo and Mabu, Black or White Volume 10, Masho Volume 16 and 17, Yorube Nakimono, and Flavor. Sarasan-mai Ryo and Mabu. Police officers Ryo and Mabu are surprised when they find a baby lying on a plate in the street. They take her in as they search for her parents but start to love her as if she were their own. This manga is a spin-off to the Sarasan-mai light novel or anime. There isn't really a continuous story. Each chapter just seems to be a random scene out of their life, the only red thread being that they found a baby and kept it. Nevertheless, it's really cute, easy to read, so if you like Ryo and Mabu, you also might like this manga. 3 stars. Black or White Volume 10. This manga is about 2 guys who are in a relationship. One of them always wanted to become an actor ever since high school, and now he is an up-and-coming actor who's always typecast as a bad guy. And then there's the other guy who initially wanted to go to college but ended up being an actor who only gets the likable roles. There is a fun plot twist that is revealed in the 1st volume, but I'm not going to spoil it. But we have 10 volumes so far. Personally, I love the art style. I also like the story, even though it's not very deep, which makes it a quick read. But I do like how deeply the two love each other. 4 stars. Mashle Volume 16 and 17. I've already given a summary, but if that's your first video, I'm going to repeat it. In the magic realm, magic is everything. Everyone can use it, and one skill determines their social status. Deep in the forest, oblivious to the ways of the world, lives Mash. When Mash is discovered, he has no choice but to enroll in magic school, where he must beat competition without revealing his secret. He can't use magic. I also made 2 videos about the 2 anime seasons if you want to watch it. I honestly don't have much to say about it. I still love it. It always makes me laugh, but in these 2 volumes explicitly, I have to say I'm very impressed what he can do with his eyelids. 5 stars. Yodobe Nakimono. One night, a mysterious young man named Chikon is introduced as the newest member of Saiga's group of assassins for hire. Unfortunately, this manga has been cancelled after 3 chapters, but in these 3 chapters, I still grew to love the characters. I especially love the bickering between the 2 main leads. However, a trope I do not like in BLs at all is the straight character in denial who's making an exception for the person who turns out to be the love of their life, and despite being in a loving relationship, still claiming that they're not gay. Ew. No, we don't like that. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily worth reading. 3 stars. Flavor. Shimojuro can have whatever he wants, but deep down finds life boring. Constantly searching for a thrill, he wanders off the path of an elite and ascends into life as a Yakuza-like lowlife until one day he comes across a man who's a filthy piece of garbage. Turns out he knows him from his past and they start living together. Usually I read these one-shots as an easy snack for in between my novels, for example. But this one really makes you use your brain. Not because it's particularly deep, but because you need to fill in the gaps yourself. Honestly, at first it all felt a bit random, especially since it jumps back and forth between the past and the present. But if you think about it for a minute or 2, it all makes sense. And you get the cute little callbacks that honestly just made me roll my eyes. The idea in and of itself isn't bad, but I think a single volume doesn't do it justice. It's not enough to properly tell the story. 3 stars. Ongoing mangas I've read were Wet Sand, Jinx, Scammed and Rammed, Servamp, 19 Days, Bungo Stray Dogs, Kagurabachi, Night Song, and Owari no Seraph. How about you? Have you consumed any of the media that I've consumed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If listening to random people talking about random stuff on the internet appeals to you, leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any topics you'd like to hear me ramble about, leave a suggestion in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!